Hello guys, thank you for clicking on my video. This winter I thought of doing something for my mom and dad. I thought of surprising them by knitting / crocheting a couple sweaters for them. I want to try to knit sweaters on the front, like mom and dad, like matching, and I feel like that would be so cute. I'm still processing it, but first of all we need to get the yarns, so let's go.
Several months later.
I'm finally done with this project, and it took me like 1.5 months to finish this project, but it took longer than I expected because I had to stop a full month to make my birthday dress. I'm glad that I'm done on the first month of winter because I don't want to give it to my mom and dad in the middle of summer. I want them to make use of it. I'll just show you guys the final result. I know this one looks so bad. It looked so good in my head, but when I made it out, it looks so bad. This one is for dad, and this one is for mom. Oh my god, this one looks so bad. It took so much effort and it came out like this, but I like how the sweaters turn out. I hope my mom likes it because my dad, he likes everything. And my mom, she has a particular taste, and sometimes it could be really hard to impress her, so yeah. Do you think they're gonna like it? And I had a few leftover yarns and I made this very ugly looking socks. Like, not really socks, it's kind of like slipper. It's very ugly looking, I know, but it's very warm, trust me, it's very warm. So, ooh. Oops. Ooh. So before I go to them, I want to tell you one thing, that I'm gonna be giving you the tutorial at the end of the video. So if you are not a crocheter or knitting, you can like exit the video after this part, because a lot of people, they liked my birthday dress, so they were asking for the pattern and tutorial how I made it. And now I can't go back and make tutorial because I never thought I was gonna make tutorial, because I thought my works were shitty and I never thought anybody would want to recreate what I created. I couldn't find the exact tutorial for what I wanted, so I created this myself. So that's why I will give you guys the tutorial. So I hope you guys can also recreate this. I'm gonna go to my mom and dad. Okay.
Basta na hangalit. Ang sabi nga. Gumasik makeup to machuchi.
Normal to 이런 식으로 하면 하는데 normal to 들어가 있지.
Normal. Like ano him?
아예 여기 우건 오버 많이 나쁘는 거.
Lama.
Yeah, I did it.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Lovely.
Amma, 직접 떨어지느라.
안 돼.
같이 왔네.
소매장이 지금래.
아니 나는 옷을 좀 너무
그래.
개고야.
이거래.
보면 이게 뭐라고 좀 전쟁이 뭐 내가는 주의를 떠외라마 남라 전부.
Thank you, Kinchusum.
Yeah, 대백진디 really surprise. Wah, kalau tanah bersihan long ski. Ani baru tu yang live dah lo. Live dah lo anu ni. Sudah ni bagi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Baipong. 그다음 비명.
드셔야지.
쇼마.
야, 몸에 쓰면 돼.
Ah, so good.
Mommy, did you say hi? Diabetic dinner now is very cold. Hi. Itu nani? Ani type itu.
Bungal ko nito.
Mommy, hindi yun ang may tandi. Hi.
Hak, hak, hak.
Thank you very much.
Put him away.
So for this, I'm using a very thick yarn, but you can use whatever yarn you like. For this project, it's a fusion of knitting and crochet, so that's why you need both the crochet hook and the knitting needle. But you have to make sure that you measure yourself and make the right stitches to fit yourself. First off, you're going to start with a crochet hook, and we're going to make the borders. And the yarn gibana hook jomba, so it's very important that you get your starting point from there so that the yarn will stay in one place while you knit and it's not gonna cause you any problem. But sometimes it's a really hard task and it takes a lot of practice for you to get the starting point, and please be patient if it's tangled. So finally I got the starting point, and now we're gonna start by making stitches. So with the yarn, you just make a circle and pull the yarn from the middle and then tie a knot. Now you're gonna start to make your stitches from here. So I don't want my border to be really huge, so I'm making 5 stitches here. But you should always add 1 if you're doing single crochet. My stitches are 5, but I added 1. Now to make the first row, you're gonna skip the first stitch and start from the second stitch. As you can see that every stitch has 2 parts, the front and the back. So we're going to use the back loop only. So the first row is only single crochet, which is the basic of crocheting. You just pull the loop from the stitch and yarn over. Repeat this till the end of the row. I'm trying to go slow, so it's a bit difficult. This is row 1. Now we will end it by adding another stitch. Please do not forget to add 1 extra stitch at the end of every row. And you turn over. Now we're going to work on the second row. We're going to skip the first stitch and then work on the back loop only, the one facing away from you. Now this is a bit different from the earlier stitch. You're going to have to yarn over before you put your hook in the stitch and then pull through every loop. This is called half double crochet. Repeat this till the end of the row. And that is the 2 pattern that you are going to repeat for your borders. And do not forget to add 1 extra stitch after the end of each row. So this is how it will turn out. This is the length that I want my border to be. You can measure it on your own body and see if it's okay for you before you proceed. So now we're going to knit upwards, so we're going to make stitches for knitting. Add the extra stitch, and now we're going to simply single crochet across the border till the end. So you can clearly see there are 3 spots that you can use to make this stitch. I made 3 stitch per section. Continue to make single crochet in the same manner till the end of the border. I am struggling a lot because it's very tight, and that's absolutely normal. There is no right and wrong way in knitting and crocheting. You can play around and find the method that you're most comfortable with. There's another method that you can use, which is to knit the body part first and then make the border at the end. Both the method are right, and you can use whichever method you find comfortable with. It all depends on yourself. Now make single crochet till the end of the border and I will meet you there. Now this is the part where knitting comes in play. So now I'm going to transfer the stitches onto the knitting needle. So now I'm going to double each stitch because I want the sweater to be loose, but if you want your sweater to be tight, then you can skip this step and directly transfer the stitches to the needle. I know my method is very confusing, but once you get the stitches on the knitting needle, it becomes very simple. This is how you're going to double the stitch. As you can see, there are two parts of the stitch. When you make the first stitch, you're going to use the front loop only. And then when you make the second stitch, you're going to put in both the loop. That is how you're going to double. You can also do this by making the first stitch on the front loop and the second stitch by using the back loop only, but that can be a bit difficult. So that's why when I make the second stitch, I put it through both the front and the back loop, which is so much easier. And I know this one takes a bit of time, and if you're a beginner, you might struggle with this part. However, after this step, the pattern is very simple throughout the body part and it will be very easy. So you're gonna transfer the stitch by doubling it onto the knitting needle in the same manner throughout the single crochet that you made before on the border. Make use of your index finger to hold the yarn so it doesn't get in your way. It will make this step so much easier. Finally, I'm done doubling the stitch and transferring it onto the knitting needle, and it looks like this. Now I'm gonna teach you this two pattern that you're going to repeat throughout your sweater, and it is the basic pattern of knitting. If you want your edge to be straight, always remember to leave the first stitch unknitted. Does that make sense? So the first pattern that I'm gonna teach you is called knit. For this, you're going to insert your needle away from you and yarn over and then pull the yarn towards you and slide it off. That is called a knit. And now I'm going to teach you how to purl. You're going to put the needle towards you, yarn over, and then pull the yarn away from you and slide it off. Te kip te bana lebe chapkata di bawe, te knit beodalu, ja di cherahato member pata chapkata di zube, te le ani stitch di tenko, te kip te bana lebe tangata di bani. Te purl zemi di beodalu, ja di cherahato zu, kip di ki, these are the two patterns that you're gonna repeat. You gotta remember that after each pattern, you will have to move the yarn backward and forward. And that's it. You just need to repeat this pattern until you reach the length that you like. Always remember to leave the first stitch of every row unknitted. So you might be wondering, how can you tell when you should purl and knit? When you purl, you create this pattern which looks like a knot. But when you knit, you create this pattern which looks like a V. Pattern you have to do a knit. You will always do a purl. Now that you know how to create this pattern, which is knit and purl, I think you're ready to create this sweater with me. Let's go, and I'll meet you guys when I get to my desired length. So now that I'm done, this is how it looks. Look at that pattern. It's very stretchy and warm, and it looks good. But remember to always measure it on your body if you're making it for yourself so that it is of the right size when you're done. So now I will teach you how to wrap it up. You can't leave the stitches open because it can come undone. So for this, you can only focus on one pattern, and I like to focus on only knitting. So you do the usual knitting, you yarn over, you pull it towards yourself, slide it off, and you're gonna grab the first stitch and pull it over the second stitch. You do the usual knit, and then you grab the first stitch and pull it over the second and slide it off. So that is how you're going to wrap it up. You're going to repeat this to all the stitches till you reach the end of the row. Now that you're at the end, you're going to do the same thing. you pull over, and then you pull the yarn and cut it off. Now you're done with the front part of the sweater. Now you gotta make the back part, which is the same step. You gotta make 2 of this. After making 2 of those, now you will move on to make the arm part. For the arm part, you have to follow the same pattern, but just make it half. You can measure it with your arm and see how much you need, like this. You need to count how many stitches you need to make. For me, it is usually the half of the body part, but to be sure, you need to measure it with your arm. And then make 2 of those, like this. After you're done making the front part and the back part, you need to measure it on your body to mark where you want your neck area to be. Like this, and mark it with a marker, and then you need to stitch this part and then attach your arm here. So this is the arm part, and I'm going to show you how to stitch the arm part. And you don't have to worry about knots like that. When you stitch knots like that and parts that you don't like should be exposed outside, so when you're finished stitching, you will flip it inside out. There are 2 ways of attaching it together. First one is by using the crochet hook, and the second one is using the sewing needle. You can use whichever way you are comfortable with. The stitches made by the crochet hook looks less obvious and it's more stronger. You just attach them together and there you are. You have stitches that align with each other, and then you're just going to make single crochet very loosely. 아니 배우다디, please remember to do it loosely. The loose be 마배워진 아니 디 꿈주니와 디 가텔로 stitch be 아니 디 over tight be 조동. That was my first mistake as a beginner, so please remember to do it very loosely like how I'm doing in the video. And this is how you wrap up the stitch. After making the last single crochet, you're just going to do a slip stitch and then pull the yarn and cut it. And then try to hide the ends like this so that it's not very obvious, but it's not going to cause you any problem because after making the slip knot, it's not going to come loose. So for the neck part, I will show you how it's done with the sewing needle, and it's very simple and easy. First off, you need to mark it with a marker so that you don't make any mistakes. Make sure that the right shoulder and left shoulder is equal. When you put them together, the holes will align. You can easily see the pattern that you can follow. It would be very easy for you if you made them of the same size with the same stitch, and then it will have same stitch, so it will align together and you will have easy access. So this is how you wrap it up. It is same like any other. You just need to make a slip knot and then you pull the yarn and cut it. I prefer the one with the crochet hook because this one kind of looks obvious, as you can see. Now the final step is to hide the yarn so that it's not obvious. After sewing the arms and the neck, this is how it will look. And now you have to attach the arm to the body part. Before that, you have to make the border for the neck part. It's the same pattern by using single crochet and half double crochet. So for that, I like to start from the middle of the neck part. There's a lot of ways that you can attach your yarn to a starting point, but this is how I do it. So you just have to repeat the steps that you did when you were making the border. I want to keep the neck part short, so that's why I'm going for a lower stitch. But if you want to make a high neck, then you can make more stitches. You're going to do the normal single crochet, just like before, till the end of the row. So now this is where the new thing comes. So before you proceed to the second row, you are going to slip stitch 2 times onto the neck part. This is the process where you attach the border to the neck part. So now that you're done, you turn your work and then proceed with half double crochet, just like how you did in the border before. but you'll have to skip 2 and start from the 3rd stitch, as you can see, and then proceed with normal half double crochet. When you reach the end, you add an extra stitch, turn your work, and then proceed with single crochet. And do not forget to add 2 slip knot onto the neck part, and proceed this till you reach the end, and then sew the end part to the starting point. And then you use the sewing skills that I taught you earlier and attach the arm to the body part, and voila, you have your sweater. And that's all from me. I hope my tutorial was clear, and if it wasn't, do leave me feedbacks to improve in the comments below, and I'll see you guys with a better tutorial. Thank you for watching, and see you guys in my next video.